getting into your discography on the production side, you were credited for production on Kool G's first solo project, 456, which went number one, as well as The Roots of Evil, 98, and the G and Connor Story, 2002. Yeah. Now, what was that like, man, being a part of a number one album? You know what I mean? At that time.
Well, at the time, it was tough with the 456 project because I had just kind of started producing, you know what I'm saying? What happened was he brought me in, he was doing something in Chungking and invited me to the studio to remix a record. And the A&R person was there from Sony. He was on Epic, Sony, and Awanda Booth. And she heard the music and she saw him and we got to talking and she was like, gee, I want him to do your whole project, the album. And he was like, word? And she was like, yeah, I like him. I want him to do the whole project. So he brought me in, but some beef happened and a contract was put on G's life. And so it got real funky with us for recording. They would send us all around everywhere, man, to go to all these random studios because it was a real thing. It was a real thing that they were trying to kill him. And he didn't trust anybody. I mean, it was so serious at the time. I was one of the few people he trusted because he had a baby with somebody who was really close to me, a friend of mine. And, you know, we were all like family. His mom, her and I loved like saltwater fish. I mean, I would go over there and sit and talk to her the whole day just about fish.
That's crazy.
You know, we were just cool. He, you know, my mom's him tight. We were all tight. It was like one little family. And so he trusted me, you know what I'm saying, to go out and do stuff. He knew I wasn't a street cat. I wasn't into that stuff. So he kept his network very small. We had legendary engineer Steve Vett traveled with us. You know, he did Run DMC, Beastie Boys, all them cats. Trackmasters, that's what they used. Monster of an engineer, but he passed. Rest in peace to him. So a lot of the 456 songs were pre-recorded. G had bought Marley Marl's studio and had it in his crib and would do demo stuff up. My man Naughty Shorts did a lot of production, but Shorts got caught up in stuff. So I had to remix a lot of records. A lot of them songs were remixes. 456 was a remix. G was so stressed out with what was going on with his life on the line that he couldn't write. He had writer's block. He could barely think of anything.
Man, that shit is real, bro.
So it wasn't until Nas came in there to do Fast Life and Grimm came up with my man B1 and he brought his boys up there from Harlem that, you know, he relaxed. You know, I was like, yo, I need Grimm and his crew up here, bro. Like, you know, he'll bring some stuff together. He's crazy. And so he came in and all those hooks, shit ain't never gonna change. That's all Grimm.
Damn.
He would just listen to the music and say, yo, Butch. He and I was like hand in glove. He said, yo, I got it. He said, what do you think? He would just recite. I was like, oh man. I was like, see, bro, this is why I needed this dude. I should have had him hit a whole album. We should have just brought him up here. He went in there, and that was crazy. Money on My Brain, same thing. I sat and did the track real fast because we had time, and we wanted to squeeze something in. So I just pulled out the Herbie joint, put it together, and he just, you know, money on my mother effing brain. You know, he just sat there, pulled out another hook, and set everything off. And then G Rap, he got him. He just sat there listening and just started writing. Like, he brought that energy back to G Rap and got him going again. So did Nas. So, you know, G feeds off people. The energy is important with that dude. So that's why when he's on posse cuts, that challenging energy, he would go in there and kill you. Like, he lives on that stuff, dude. He's a carnivore when it comes to that. So you're not going to live through a posse track with him. You know what I'm saying? That was his thing. He loved to take people on in that stuff. So that environment, that was him all day.
Without getting into any specific detail, did that beef stem from from the streets or some music shit?
The streets, man. It was something so simple and silly that happened, but it just turned serious.
Yeah.
It was a little simple incident that happened.
Yeah, man. That's I can hear it now that you know, when I listen back, you know what I'm saying, I can hear that shit, man, in the music. You know what I'm saying? G Rap is highly regarded. You know what I mean? Well respected. You know what I mean? So, we definitely, you know what I mean, tap into G, you know what I mean?
And after that, like, you know, it got so serious, he had to move to Arizona. You know, because he was in Staten Island, and I would drive out to Staten Island working on a project. And they, like I said, they kept moving him around. And at one point, he was in Staten Island. And one night, I drove all the way out there from Queens, and they had a big moving truck sitting out front of the house, and everything was gone. And I had my uncle had passed away, and he was an avid record collector and DJ. He had like 30 or 40 crates of records, and I had all of them at G Rap's house because I was working on music. Everything was gone. My collection was gone. Later on, I found out the Trackmasters had my collection.
So
But
G left. I mean, when he went to Arizona, you were still out there, right?
yeah, because they got wind that the people that were after him found out where he was in Staten Island. Somebody saw him out there, and they put it out there that he was there. So they found out where he was, and they were coming to get him. And it got to the A&R, and she called and said, "Hey, we're gonna just send you money to get a plane ticket. You have to leave right now. Don't take anything with you. You have to get out. They're coming for you." So he just got in the car with his wifey, like my sister, and his baby, his son, his little kid. Got on a plane and disappeared. Like, I didn't hear from him for like a few weeks. You know, he didn't want nobody to know what he was.
The reason why I asked you that, because were you worried, like, you know, because G, I mean, did it just like stop at G? You wasn't worried that, well, shit, G ain't around, I'm still here, you know what I mean, type of thing?
Not really. I was, like I said, dude, I was quiet. I knew the dudes, you know what I'm saying? I was around. I wasn't hanging with the dudes, but, you know, they were involved with other parties, and I would be in that circle from time to time, but I wasn't with the dudes. That was just the life they were living. You know, the real 50 Cent was down with them and all that stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
That's just
shit,
the life they
okay.
were living, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I wasn't a part of that life, so I don't think it was ever a thought. G-Rap's girl was in more danger, you know, if anything, because they
Right.
knew and she was from Brooklyn. She was from Bushwick, you know what I'm saying, Project. So that's why she had to go. She couldn't be there because everyone knew her. And it was like, yo, they'll find me real easily. So she had to go to Arizona with the kid as well.
Right.
And he had to kind of start over.